Hello and welcome to the STCfit Learning Podcast. I'll be your host today. My name's Ben Scott. I'll be joined by Jason Galea. Thanks for joining us on our way to create 1 million positive outcomes for personal training clients by 2030. The podcast is brought to you by @STCfit Learning, a page created to upskill and educate PTs and gym nerds. Also brought to you by @STCfit, and that's a place for all your online and in-person personal training needs. If you enjoyed today's episodes, please give us a share and tag on the Instawebs. You can tag @STCfit, @STCfit Learning, @BenScottSC, and @JasonGalea PC. Hope you enjoy the show. Jason,
Ben, what's happening? Yeah, good. I'm pumped because we're
back.
We're quote unquote back.
Are we?
Got these mics in.
I hope we're effectively social distance.
I think we are.
But we're both double vaxxed. So
double vaxxed, socially
jabs.
distanced, ready to go. We've scanned our QR codes.
Those of you that are not in Melbourne or in the future listening back, we've just received freedom in Melbourne. That we're allowed to have
freedom.
Yeah, we're allowed to have people at least in our house, which is cool.
Yeah.
So Tam's got the snazzy banner for the ear people. We have a cool banner in the background with our logo.
YouTube.
On it.
Be able to see that on
what's
YouTube.
up? YouTube can see my new shirt because we now have the #BeLessShit tops in white.
So white, orange, and black now, right?
Yeah, all
Awesome.
three. Yeah,
The trifecta.
rolled in last night. So
Literally,
Jace doesn't have his yet. So
I'm gonna have a Be Less Shit t-shirt for every day of the week now. Like I had to wash the two that I've got.
Yeah.
Now I can just have 5 days, just like every day Be Less Shit.
Yeah, I was really excited. We got some not released to the public long sleeve ones made that we sort of decided would be a good idea after, and now it's hot as shit. It's like, probably not gonna
bad
wear
move.
them like,
Today's hot as fuck too.
not gonna wear them for a while.
It's hot as fuck in Melbourne. It's like 23 degrees. But like that first hot day just hits different. You know what I mean? Like there'll be people at the beach today just because I don't know. Like they're special, but
sunshine.
Yeah.
It's
just like it's not that hot, but it's hot. Feels fucking hot out.
The beware on the Instagrams for the wedgie phone over the shoulder photos.
Yeah.
Sun's out, buns out. I won't be doing
I teed
mine.
off at 7:30 in shorts, so it's like I'm like it's summertime.
I'm too busy, so I can't post one of those today, guys. I'm sorry. It's too much on.
I can't unsee that.
Look, there was the Belfies. I think the next step from the Belfie is the over the shoulder. Yeah. Sun's out, buns out.
Yeah.
It's where it's at.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
Sex sells and all that, right? All right. So we're obviously in a good mood, and we're pretty excited because we've been talking shit about this program that's coming up for quite a while and not telling anyone what it is or what's going on. We're going to announce what it is today. So it's going to be the third iteration or the third, I guess, evolution of our programs that we have within STCfit Learning. So you guys would be familiar with our 1K PT program, which is essentially designed for someone who's just out of their Cert 4, walking into a gym and looking to get on their feet. So it's simply how to set up your business, how to get sales, an introduction, I guess, to coaching people and actually building relationships, all the stuff that you don't get taught in your Cert 4, and then a little bit of like social media and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then our most popular course, which is the Standout PT program, which is designed for someone who's kind of done that, but now they're stuck in a position where they can't take a day off. They're slaves to their clients. Their clients run their business rather than they're running their business. Working too many hours, not making enough money, that really want to set a business up that serves still their client. Like we talk about being client first all the time. So serves their client, but also gives back in a better way to them and their lifestyle and their long-term goals. So what are we, fourth intake for that at the moment?
Number 4.
Yeah.
4, yeah.
So in February 2022, depending when you're listening to this, that date won't change. We're going to launch our new program, which is going to be called the 1% PT. As the name suggests, the goal is to put you in the top 1% of the fitness industry.
Yeah.
That's the outcome that we're trying to achieve. So it's going to be our longest course. The content will span over 12 months. We've obviously mulled over the the content itself and the curriculum for quite a while and been refining it, like learning a lot from what the guys are doing in Standout PT, and when they get to the end of that, what's next, and then obviously reviewing what we've done, what other people in the industry who have taken a different path to us but still been really successful, what they've done, and putting all those puzzle pieces together to work out like, okay, this is the thing.
Yeah, even just like thinking about when we got to that position after like Standout PT, where it's like you haven't bought yourself a job, you're starting to run a business, a scalable business. It's like, what's next, like for our business, and like what's next for you at like a personal / professional level as well. So it's like we've had to, I guess, outsource a lot of that, make a lot of mistakes, spend a lot of time doing that. So
and money.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. And yeah, I think like a lot of the way the course has been designed, or the people that we've sought out, or even just the time frames and just how the modules are eaten up and the outcomes that we want to get at the end is like really half of it a reflection of like, oh damn, I wanted that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wanted that as a second, third year PT to be a specialist and have this fast track and start working on things like wealth and a business and getting staff and looking at opportunities that I guess like we didn't even know were available until you meet somebody and you're like, oh fuck, like
we could do that.
Yeah, you actually can achieve that. Like kind of like, I guess like, when you bought your last car and I was like, wait, we can have one of them? And you're like, yeah, we can. And I was like, awesome, I'm getting one too.
We're allowed to drive a European car?
Yeah. So it's more like that. And even just some of the conversations we've been having with the people bringing into the course, like I'm excited to go over some of the stuff that because it still applies to like us in our situation as well. Like we can still use this stuff. Yeah. And just like put ourselves in a better position. So I'm like, just super keen.
Yeah. So if you're what most people would term a successful personal trainer, so the way we would quantify that is going to be like probably making over 75K, I think is kind of past mark these days.
GST registered.
Yeah. So GST registered and beyond.
In Australia anyway.
Sitting there like, what's next? Like how do I go to the next level? What's the next thing for me? And we kind of sat back and looked at it and based on the problems we had and what we're seeing with the guys who have graduated from the Standout PT program, they're still not a specialist, I think is one thing that stands out. Yep. Like we probably did it by accident, and we talked about that, I think, in the niche episode last time, like how we actually generated our niche and how we found that was both of us honing in on a specialty and being really good at it.
Yeah.
And that allowed us to choose that niche in that area because we had the skill set to do it.
Yeah.
So we went through, I think, the 3 filters last time. It was like, one of them is like, who do you get the best results for? And if you're not a specialist in an area that you want to pursue and have your niche inside that area, it's going to be really hard to actually specialize in that space and have a niche inside that space if you're not good at it. So there's that. So identifying like your specialty. They don't know how to grow. It's like once I'm capped out with the projection for most PTs is like fill my PT book, maybe then go online.
Yeah.
And then everyone dreams of opening a facility and we'll talk about that. Or nowadays more and more like the mentorship thing is starting to pop up as well.
Yeah.
We can like throw around that we did it before it was cool.
Yeah. A lot of people copied us too.
6 years ago. But yeah, like I think that those sort of pathways are what people are thinking about, but there's not just that. Like we can look at contractors, like we've never owned a facility and we've had tons of contractors go through our business, mentorships, education, obviously growing over 150 clients in our PT online only business, let alone face-to-face. So there's lots of different models that we've tried, and there's even more that other people in the industry that we like and respect and trust that have done different stuff and been successful as well. So we've taken lessons from all of those. So then I think if we sit back, and it's funny, we were on a walk yesterday, holding hands, of course, and Jason and I were talking about our training and how like just our values have shifted around it a little bit. Like 12 months, if we had been sitting there, it was like I would have been tooth and nail, just be the best powerlifter I could be, and you were like, I'm going to compete, I'm going to do this, and
I'm huge. I'm going to get huge.
Yesterday we were sort of like, I just want to enjoy training, and I don't know how to quantify that for a goal. That's our biggest challenge. And obviously, particularly throughout this year, we've been exploring like wealth creation, investing, and taking that next step. So when you get to our age, dating ourselves, because we're dinosaurs in the industry at least, when you get late 20s, early 30s and beyond, it's like, I want to create wealth for your family, for the next family, like actually create something. Like we were just having a conversation, like you don't have to work till you're 70.
Yeah.
Like, especially as a PT, like that's going to be pretty draining doing that for 50 years.
100%.
So it's starting to look at like, okay, cool, I have this business that's working and generating income and I'm doing all this other stuff, but what other directions can I take to maybe improve my lifestyle, improve that wealth creation side of things?
Yeah, like it's not, you can make a lot of money being a personal trainer. Like, and you can make a lot of money being a good one and running a business too, and having, I guess, like money that is like spendable as well. Cause like when you run a business, you kind of know where your money's tied up and what's left over. When you don't run a business and you make a lot of money, you're probably spending a lot of money that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's going to come back to bite you. And I've done both of those. But what I think is important is when you're in that position where you are, you know, hitting these income goals and, you know, your expenses are low and your income is high, is like you actually have some education on what opportunities you have to spend that income to make it work for you. Like you're in a situation right now where you work and you get money. And it's like, and you might have enough of it to be able to blow it on whatever. And, you know, let's be honest, like it's nice to have good, you know, Jordans, and it's nice to have a nice car and good clothes and all those kind of things. But it gets to a point where it's just like, that's like, you've done it. Like there's no point doing any more of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, how can I actually make this money work for me?
Yeah.
You know, and that's that next step of like, when you look at these people that are specializing in a specific area and are that 1% in the industry, it's like, generally where they are in life and their career is like they're looking broader spectrum.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And if you follow the evolution too, it's like 1K PT is like, I know in our experience, it was like fucking baked beans and tuna for lunch and just survive
Work
and pay
hard.
rent and just, just get after it.
Yeah.
Standout PT is like start to make money.
Yeah.
Like start to be comfortable and be able to pay your bills at the end of the week and not have to like, fuck that, the water bill's due or the whatever. It's like I'm making a solid income, I'm putting money away and I'm in a good spot. I can buy the Jordans, I can get the nice car if I want.
Yeah.
Like we're all cool here. The next step from there is how does that money make money?
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you want to do the things that personal trainers don't typically get to do.
Yeah.
It's buy a house, get married, go overseas for 6 weeks or whatever, and actually be able to come back to a book of clients.
Yeah.
It's like, you should be able to have those opportunities no matter who you are and what industry you work in. And then you got those people that can do all those things. And it's like, cool, I want to get an investment property. I want to think about making some wealth work to me and have an investment portfolio of like the spectrums across like shares and whatever else.
Yeah.
It's like, you can have those opportunities and they are available to you.
Yeah.
We're going to make you aware of those.
Yeah. And it comes back to that, like there's no money in PT.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's not a real job.
There's no money in shit PT.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not a real job. Like no other small business is a real job. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I guess like we've again, as you guys are familiar with, always with our pillars of like what are the main areas we actually need to think about when people go into this phase. So I think one of the areas that we have still found, and it's almost, I don't want you to get to hear the word fundamentals and think, oh, fucking know the fundamentals, bro. Like, I get it. But a lot of people actually don't have such as detailed knowledge of the fundamentals as maybe they think they do. Yeah. Particularly in more advanced areas. Yeah. So we're starting to talk about things like nutrition coaching. Like, again, like realistically in a personal trainer scope, you need to know where your line is and how that works and then how to best maximize that.
Yeah, and have a spectrum of nutrition coaching as well, from like your most robotic client who everybody wants to your most difficult one.
Yeah, just because you understand macros and do them doesn't mean you understand nutrition. It's amazing. I actually had a client recently who just her energy level on a feedback form's been low, like consistently for a long period of time. She's like, oh, like obviously I need to go get a blood test, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, do that. But also just plug everything into Chronometer and let's see where your micronutrients are at. Yeah. It's like iron was tanked, zinc was tanked, B vitamins tanked. It's like no wonder you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it comes back to, that like macro Steve thing that we've
Just stolen.
Yeah.
From Mac Nutrition.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Mackenzie Baker, I think.
Yeah, Mackenzie, yeah.
Fortitude.
So like, yeah, it's important, I think, to acknowledge that like there's a much larger array of nutrition protocols than just that.
Yeah. And like most of the people we talk about in Standout PT all the time, like you can have people that want a specific outcome, and all of these people can fall into that niche, you know, body composition, whatever it is. If it involves nutrition, we'll talk about that. But it's like those individual people's knowledge on nutrition is going to vary. You know, so you're not always looking for someone who wants to look good naked, you know, do everything you can to be muscular, strong, and lean, but also have an advanced diploma in nutrition, so you don't have to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
It's like there's going to be people that fall within those. Like, I'll do everything I can to get this goal, but I don't know anything about nutrition. So you've got to be able to teach those people.
I've had the privilege of being around some of Australia's best powerlifters, and the percentage of them that have no fucking idea about performance nutrition is crazy. And it's not just like, here's your macros. It doesn't work. It's like, and even then, like when you start to specialize in that sort of area, it's like, okay, so cool. You gave them the macros and they're on fucking, all of a sudden they're a huge dude and they're on 5,000 calories a day. How do you get that in? How does that work? Oh, fuck, I don't know. I've never eaten that much food. Okay, so you need to maybe actually consider a few more layers than just like...
Hit your calories and hit your macros, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Which works for a lot of people, but not everyone.
Yeah, that's it.
So then I guess like go down the rabbit hole of like fundamental hypertrophy as well. And I guess the best way to look at the fundamental pillar is like beyond the beginner. Yeah. So everyone can put muscle on someone in their first year. Yeah. Probably even their second year. Yep. What do you do with the third, fourth, fifth, 10th year trainee who's been lifting weights consistently? You need to actually understand how this shit works, like the fundamentals underlying that are key to making this happen. Yeah,
even be able to troubleshoot whether like questions and training modalities, and be able to see and understand if things are going to work from a mechanistic perspective. Like with hypertrophy specifically, like when you get to an advanced level, everyone's just figuring shit out. Like realistically, like from the people I've spoken to so far who like are, you know, balls deep in the research, it's like once you go advanced, it's like, does it adhere to like the principles? Yes. Okay, we'll test it and find out if it works for you. So like if you don't know how muscles grow and you don't know how, you know, this relationship between force and velocity and, you know, how muscles contract and slide over from a physiological perspective, and understand like, you know, where tension's created and where it's lost and all of that kind of stuff, you're going to find it very hard to be able to quantify if like someone goes, oh, what do you think of this training technique? Or exercise, exactly. Or am I executing this properly? Or the speed of the rep, or, you know, being able to like assess someone's performance during a set and being like, okay, well, is there sufficient effort? Is that translating to a quantifiable stimulus? You know, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of people are going to think like, oh, I know how a muscle grows. It's like, well, okay, that's fine. But you've got to understand all of the other components as well. And that's where we want to dive really deep with this stuff, to be able to give you all of the tools necessary to troubleshoot and just like select better exercises, program better, communicate better to your client, teach them things like effort and make it related to their training and their recovery status and those kind of things, just get better outcomes.
Yeah. And then once you know all of that, being able to actually put it in practice. Yeah. I think it's the next step. Like I think a lot of people know, like quote unquote, know a lot of stuff. Like, oh yeah, I know that. But it's, are you applying it effectively with your clientele? Because it'll show in the results whether you are or not. And then it'll show in your retention whether you are or not because of the results. So I think there's a lot of people out there that know stuff because they've heard it on a podcast or done a course or whatever. But when it comes down to you actually pull apart their programming, it's like, do ya?
Yeah, and it helps formulate your method. Yeah. Like you're all going to have a method. Like whether you like it or not, it's going to, everything you learn falls into a rational step of thinking to train somebody. So when you're tracking those steps back, part of the process of influencing those decisions and is going to be what you know. So if you don't know your fundamentals in and out, and even if you do, I still look at them now. And then every now and then I'm like, oh, fuck, this falls in here. This is where this piece actually sits.
Yeah.
You know, and this makes so much more sense,
Yeah.
even more sense than it did before. So it's like that's where, if you want to be a specialist, if you want to stand out and be part of the 1% now, it's like you have those conversations with yourself and other good people around you because you've put the effort in to know all of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously the same carries over to strength. Like strength is becoming more and more popular, and like the rabbit holes of areas that people are going down in terms of like starting to discuss like breathing mechanics, gait cycle, compression, expansion strategies, like all of this stuff is starting to like be really cool to listen to and talk about. And there's PTs that are like in their first year that are worried about compression strategies with their client who's been lifting for 6 weeks. Like maybe we need to know, okay, what actually happens at this load? What happens at this load? What happens at this load? How do I program that? How do I deal with the fatigue that brings in? What happens if this person's outside, however, all of my other clients are, and how they behave? How quickly do I change it? What do I pursue? Like, I think it's one of those things, again, anyone can get you to a novice powerlifting meet. Just like you can probably squat, bench, and deadlift every day and still make it. Like you might be a bit sore and tired, but you probably make it.
Yeah, 100%.
But how do you continuously add tonnage, comp in, comp out, whether it's competing or not? Just say, use that as an example. But
linear progression over time.
Yeah, how do you continuously get stronger once those newbie gains have worn off?
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I guess that will be what falls under our fundamentals pillar. And then something that I think with the standout PT program in particular is because we only have a short period of time, the Be Great pillar is just like, these are the basic things that you need to get results with people. Yeah. When we come into 1%, we obviously have a lot more time. Mm-hmm. And you guys have businesses that you can actually apply this stuff into, and then
you got clients to work with.
Yeah. So if you've got that book now and this is sort of what you do, then it's no surprise that when we actually look at training, it's our largest pillar in the 1%. Yeah. Because once you've done the business stuff, it's hard to get it going. But once it's done, maintenance for it is actually pretty easy.
Yeah. The goal is to make your business acquire the leads and pre-convert them for you.
Yeah. And then once all of those systems are in place, the model's in place, the service is in place, how you get clients is in place, now it's just about how fucking good are you at your job.
Yeah.
So we dive into advanced hypertrophy programming. Again, what do you do after 3 years when they're not just slabbing on muscle because they ate some more protein?
Yeah, because they've gone from beginner to intermediate.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a strategic decision, or there's got to be strategic decisions made to design a program specific for a person.
Yeah, or someone who lacks the ability, I don't want to say has shit genetics, but lacks the ability to build muscle easily.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing in that response? Like, understanding that. Same with strength. How do you actually put a 6-month, a 12-month block together for someone based on strengths and weaknesses and current settings and their goals and all those other considerations? It's individualized to the person, not just like, I can ride a 5x5 with accessories and someone will get stronger.
Yeah. We talk about it a lot in the podcast whenever we visit training, but it's like the rational steps to go from general to specific, like a general population coach to going to a specific coach that gives specific outcomes for people. It's like, that's where this stuff kind of starts to take its place.
Yeah. And just, I guess for background on that, like we call it advanced programming because those two models took us 3 years to put together.
Yeah.
Of like, do it, apply it. This is still happening. Do it, apply it. Okay, now this is happening. Try it, apply it. Okay, it's getting countless results now. Like I added it up recently. It's like we've done 210 powerlifting preps.
Wow.
Granted, most of them are like beginner to middle intermediates.
Yeah.
But we've had enough that we've probably had maybe 10, 15 national level qualifiers, 2 that medaled at nationals. So it's like there's enough in there to say it works for them as well. But developing it over that period of time, you've had guys that have won shows. Yeah. It's like it wasn't just like, oh, this is the stuff that's in the textbook. No. It's like this is tried and tested with population, actually executed. And again, with everything that we do, you guys have probably done courses on this stuff before. Like if you're at this position in your career where you're like, hey, this course actually probably sounds like where I'm at, like I'm ready to go become a specialist now, I'm going to guess you've been to courses and you've been to done programs and mentorships and all
Yeah,
that kind of
100%.
shit. And then the question we always ask is like, what are you applying from that in your business right now?
Yeah.
And it's usually quite low.
Yeah.
Lower than it should be. And we know that because we fucking did it. We spent thousands of dollars and then
Just listening to cool information.
yeah, got to work on Monday and went, so that was fun.
Fuck, do it now.
Sweet. We just keep training people the same way. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of it as well. Something that's newer that we're really excited about is the advanced exercise selection pathways.
Yeah.
So being able to actually quantify not just like that exercise is in there because it's the lengthened position of the pec. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
That's stage one, but like advanced exercise selection is the next level to that. And being able to like, how is someone moving? How is someone designed? Where is their weaknesses? What do they need to develop? That's then how we build a program out.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that because I think like obviously riding the strength one, knowing what that trend, being in it and being like, I don't know what to do here. I know this person needs X, Y, Z, but I don't know what to do. Or just like, I need to just reduce load, so I'll just do a pause.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, where's the next layer? I can go further than that.
Yeah.
And being able to quantify that based on data, based on seeing the client in action, and being able to put that together.
Yeah, it's going to be a valuable resource to have as a coach.
Yeah, really cool. And then I guess like what else did we struggle with is the niggle stuff. Like this hurts, Jason. Fuck.
Just put up with it.
Okay.
Just train harder.
Just change the exercise.
Just
My shoulder hurts.
Train it out.
What angle, at what degree does it hurt? If I do an 90-degree shoulder press, my shoulder hurts. Okay, do it at 60.
Yeah, pretty much.
Problem solved. Like,
does it hurt? No, keep doing it then.
So yeah, and then you end up just only being able to flat press.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life.
The degrees just keep going down and down.
We laugh because we've both done it.
100%.
So yeah, like being able to identify, like, niggles is my favorite word.
Yeah.
Niggles is like most of the time, a niggle is inside the PT scope.
Yeah.
Once you go injury, so like usually an injury is it hurts before you get to the gym.
Yeah.
Niggles like, just fucking when I bench press, it does this.
Yeah.
And I think PTs can play in that space.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's look at technique for one. Let's look at warm-ups for the other. Let's look
range
at
of motion.
Yeah, weaknesses, posture, like posture through movement, not static. Like, let's look at what's actually happening here and how we can intervene. And then, like, you and I talk about all the time, it's like, let's try this.
Yeah.
That didn't work. Go see
someone. Yeah.
And then being able to be mature enough and versatile enough to send someone to an allied health professional and actually have a two-way conversation and get a result for the client.
Yeah.
I know you've done that for a couple of clients. I had one just recently, and you can tell a story about yours too, that I think 7 years ago she got diagnosed with this hip injury, and they're like, the only way we can fix it is surgery. So because they labeled it like that, and she was like, well, I can't. She's a hairdresser, so I can't be on my feet that long.
Yeah.
Off my feet for that long. It's not going to work. And it was just like she found ways to manage it. There were certain exercises that pissed it off, so she stopped doing them and then just managed. So came on board, cool. I want you to just go here for me, have one appointment, and see what they say.
Yeah.
So we sent them to who we use at Fox, came back and was like, we did these tests and I tried these exercises and my range of motion increased. So Laura doesn't think I need surgery. And I was like, sweet. Fast forward 6 weeks, training without pain.
Wow.
So it was like 7 years just because someone told her you need surgery. So you guys are as personal trainers are in a position that you're the one that sent them there. It's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
So you need to have good relationships with those people and know enough about what you're talking about to hear that and go, not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe go check someone else first.
Yeah, that's it. Seek a second opinion with someone who you guys have a good working relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you look like a rock star as well when...
Yo, fucking how good do I look after that? It's like, I went and worked with Ben and now my hip doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got people that are invested in wanting to train, and you've got therapists wanting to keep those people in the gym as well, working with you on addressing the issue and also all of the other things that you can continue to do because you're not affected by whatever injury or limitation it is. So
Yeah. So if you do need allied health, we'll shout out Fox Physio because that's usually where we send
they're the
everyone.
best.
Yeah. So getting that's really the training, I guess, pillar.
Yeah.
Obviously, being with all of this, we need to obviously look at business as well. Like the next step isn't just our whole theory all the time is there's a lot of smart trainers out there that aren't busy and that aren't making any money, and they end up leaving the industry ultimately, or they just struggle forever.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a business component of going to the next level. It's like once everything's set up, like I like to look at Standout PT as like that's the platform that you build everything from.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like people talk about being scalable, right? It's like Standout PT designs a scalable business for you.
Yeah.
What you decide to do in terms of scaling is up to you at that point, because you know who you work with, you know how all of this stuff works. You've got the models and the systems in place that should be, and this is what we tell the guys, this should be good enough that you can bring someone in and replace yourself in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Like this is what we do. There you go do it.
Yeah, it's a launch pad, and then someone else can just jump into that launch pad and just do it too.
Yeah, so if you've got a business that's at that level, you've got access to whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
So one of the things everyone obviously talks about is like bringing on coaches.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for a while. We've had plenty of people through Standout PTs do that now too, very successfully actually. Yeah. And then how does that model work? Is that we've done it through other health clubs and just ran it as an online? Is it in your own gym? Is it whatever? Like those are the considerations there as well. I think the other direction people want to take is like products and services that you can leverage the flow of leads, you can leverage the brand, you can leverage the authority and all of that stuff that you've built by running a great business and start to offer different things. So whether that be a touch-free product that you don't actually have to coach anyone anymore. Yeah. Or you inside that product at least. It's like, here's a touch-free option of coaching with me that you can do by yourself. You don't need check-ins, you don't need whatever.
Yeah, well, we always build everything off this core product, especially in Standout PT, but as people build their business and get leads coming in from wherever, you want them to be able to service those leads. Like everyone gets talked about, like anyone before Standout PT always talks about the waiting list. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, rather than having a waiting list of all these people who are not paying for your service, until you have a free spot available, it's like make an ascending transaction model where you've got the ability to work with all of these different people across all of these different touch points within your business to make sure that every single person who lands there that has the desire to work with you has the opportunity. Yeah. And then I guess that flows into the coaching conversation, because you've got layers of service that require certain touch points. So if you've got this ascending transaction model and then the top layer like has the most demand, you've got now the ability to bring a coach on to fulfill that.
Yeah, it's so valuable. I think the waiting lists, when you logically step back and think about it, it's like, imagine if Apple was like, you're on the waiting list for the phone. It's like, I want the fucking phone, bro.
It's like, we only offer the iPhone 12 and there's no 12X, 12XS. Yeah. There's no other models. It's like, you just get that phone and you just have to wait for the next one available.
But we still sell the 8 and the 10. Yeah. As well. Like you can, you can't reach the budget of the 12. Here, have the 8. Yeah. Like it's still there for you. So it makes no sense.
So many other businesses do it successfully that we're just unaware of. It's like, you can do it in fitness too.
Yeah. You just sit there and wait, Jason, and you pay me when I'm ready for you to pay me.
Yeah. Which I would just wait and I would just go to somebody else. Like, you have to be exceptionally good for someone to wait.
Yeah. 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 I'm the same. So inside business again is the next step to like social media, marketing, branding that we've talked about in the past, beyond like getting some AS Colors tops and putting a logo on it. Yeah. Like beyond that, like how do you actually create a force to be reckoned with? Like we're talking about being in the 1%. We're not talking about like just being the best in the gym, which a lot of you, if you're ready for this course, you probably already are. Yeah. You're probably up there in the echelon with who you work with in the, particularly if you're in a health club. it's time to go beyond that.
Yeah, and just how to leverage like other services and, know where your zone of genius is and potentially bring other people in that have that zone of genius for you to create better engaging content that's, going to serve you in the long run as well. Like we've benefited tremendously from like networks that are totally outside of fitness. There's just like, we just hired specialists to do jobs for us that serve way better outcomes than if Ben and I did them ourselves, which we've done in the past, and look back on some of that content and some of those ads and whatnot and just laugh at them. So it's going to be a really valuable thing to know that those things are out there, because we didn't know at one point. So we're just like, all right, we got to do everything ourselves, or maybe we weren't in a position to leverage that from a financial perspective or whatever. But it's like, Standout PT gets you in a position to, be able to have an expendable income for your business, because we allocate some for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, this course is going to leverage your income even more so as you work with a niche client who's going to be paying more because the service is better and it is so niche that the value's there. So you have the ability to now, bring in resources or hire people to do things for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, the whole time I was thinking, we were talking about that, I was just thinking like, you can have a TAM.
Yeah.
And you can know what to tell TAM to do.
You can have a TAM and you can hire writers to write really good content for you that sounds way better than you could ever write.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I think, putting yourself in a position, we call it the ecosystem. So it's like all the stuff we have out in the interwebs that leads back to what we do.
Yeah.
And there's more and more, particularly over the last, I would say 18 months, that brand recognition has skyrocketed for us. Everyone knows who we are, what we do, that we speak to nowadays. Like, it's not, who are you? It's like, even if it's a random, like, our guys that are engaging with people online, it's like, we had a conversation this morning. It's like, oh, you didn't sell to me on my first message when I followed you. I'm going to go look at all of your shit. It's like, go look at all of our shit. I don't need to sell you anything
that's
right
the plan.
now. I don't need to say, hey, how's your business going? I can get you 10,000 leads.
Oh,
fuck
man.
off. Circle jerk.
And continue to send you those messages in your request inbox. Like, fuck off, bro.
Yeah. Instead, it's like, we have a heap of fucking free shit. What do you need help with?
Yeah.
If and when I create enough value for you, then I'm going to ask you for some money to come and do the next level.
That's it. Yeah.
So, putting yourself in a position to do that, I think, is really, really valuable. So next up, we spoke about a little bit in depth at the start, like the wealth creation.
Because we're like fucking all about it at the moment.
Yeah.
At a personal level as well.
It's definitely the next step for us in the last, probably this year.
Yeah.
So and it was really cool. Like, we met with someone this week who we think is going to be presenting this part. We know exactly what we want in that person, and it looks like a good fit. I don't want to announce it because we haven't signed the paperwork just yet. And I've been burnt by that before, so I'm not going to. But they will be on the podcast at some point if they do sign. So, part of this stuff, even in the business side of things, the advanced social media and marketing stuff, it's teaching you guys how to have those conversations, how to build those relationships, how to bring someone in and not just like turn around and go, oh, fuck, that was the wrong person.
Yep.
Like, we're talking about wealth creation, so we've got to be real careful that we bring the right person in and we don't fuck everyone. Yeah. So we know exactly what we're looking for in that setting. But what that is like you said, most people, it's like, all right, the Aussie dream thing, get married, buy a house, have kids, have a nice car, do whatever it is that you want to do. Most PTs don't understand how that process works. Yeah. And what position you need to be in. And I know you had the shoebox under your mattress, and I just had no money because I spent it all. But I think, like, and theoretically, I know a guy, Mr. ATO, who didn't pay tax for the first 5 years of their career. Just wrote everything off. And then this person went in, and was like, hey, Mr. Bank Manager, I want to sell this car and get this car, and the repayments are going to be $50 a week cheaper. Is that cool? And they're like, you don't make any money. You can't have any money from us. And I was like, but I do make money. Like,
you just don't see it.
Not on paper, you don't.
Yeah.
So imagine trying to do that with a mortgage.
Yeah.
It's not going to fly so well when you're making $29,000 a year on paper.
Yeah.
So it's learning, I guess, how to maximize that, how to not pay too much tax. Like, you shouldn't pay too much tax. That would be dumb. But how do you maximize your opportunities future-wise to get into, whether it's the housing market or investment property or whatever it is, whatever pathway you want to take even down into like the share market and that kind of thing as well. Like,
yeah, just making your money work for you, I think is the best way to talk to describe it. Like after we spoke to this person who's hasn't signed the documents yet, but we will announce. Is there's even regardless of whether like you're into making money work for you in terms of like making more, is just like using it wisely and knowing like where you're like how to optimize your tax and some form of government schemes and stuff that are available that you have nothing nothing about. It's like we were having this conversation. And I was like, man, I want to sit down and talk to this person just about like my situation now. And it's like there's so many different pathways you can take once you know this stuff, and that's the goal. The goal is to give you guys knowledge and go, wow, like I want to make this work for me because I'm going to go down this way. And that's unless you know this stuff, you can't do that.
Yeah, and I think we've been so fortunate, you and I, to have, and he probably doesn't get enough like public credit for what
the big fella,
my old man's done behind the scenes.
100%.
So, as a director of the company who no one sees or hears about, but to manage all of that back end stuff effectively, we've done really, really well in a lot of situations that a lot of other people didn't.
Yeah.
So it's super, super value to manage cash flow, how all that's working, budgeting, and then, okay, what are your life goals? What are your business goals? What are your life goals? And now let's put together a plan to actually make that happen.
Yeah, I say this all the time. Like, if you are around the right people who know a lot about that stuff, like you have no chance to understand how wealth and money works.
Yeah.
Even just how to like, get a loan and all those things, or like even understand like whether you should get one, even though you have the ability to take the money.
Yeah.
Because that's not really that hard to do right now, which is a conversation for another day as well. But it's like, I didn't know anything about money. I just knew that like I had a piggy box, like piggy bank when I was little, so I should have one when I'm older. I just happened to have a shoebox full of cash that I took from my personal training business, which didn't work out because when you want to lease a car and you tell them you'll drop a 25 grand deposit, they're like, no, leasing cars don't work that way.
Yeah.
So we need to know that the business that you're leasing it for makes money.
Can actually pay the bills.
So yeah, like the goal for this particular pillar is for those people that don't have we call him dad, who's Ben's actual dad, and then maybe like people in their inner circle, their parents, whatever, who are really, really cluey on those kind of things. It's not about just like put your money in the bank.
Yeah.
It is about paying off your debt, but it's like know what debt to have, know what debt's good, know how to use your money. I think is a really, really valuable thing to know as an adult, which we just don't get to know. Like even we don't get the opportunity to learn it.
The perceptions and relationships you have around money as well. Like I don't know about you, but there's this inherent like money's bad, money's evil.
Yeah, and if you want more, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. And like I've told this story a few times, and I think honestly, it's probably the most fortunate thing that's happened to me in my life. As a client of mine who was very well off, took me overseas for a month to train him and take care of him while he did an event. And I remember being in a car doing a 8.5 hour drive or whatever from the north of France to the south of France, and just being like having an open conversation about what this guy had done in his life and how he'd sort of gone about it and his values, and obviously got to know him really well during that time. And it was just, I just sat back and just went, you can have money and not be an asshole.
Yeah.
And that was just like, like that was it for me. It was like, and I really hope that when we deliver this, that message gets through to a lot of people, because that was the turning point for me. I got home from that trip and it was like, I got out of debt within 3 years of that trip. And I had a lot of it. And now all of a sudden it's like I'm investing and we're having a conversation about like fucking share markets and shit. At that time was like,
it's about protein
beyond,
and BCAAs.
Man. Yeah. It's like, can I go to my supplement store and buy what I need to buy and we're good. Like, so I hope that we're able to break that barrier down for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So the last and definitely not the least is like moving into that specialist regime. So 3 areas that we've kind of identified that most personal trainers want to move within is physique development that carries over into prep, but development, because we've talked about it on the podcast before, like training competitors, business model wise, may or may not be the best choice.
Yeah,
straight away.
Extreme body transformations. 100%.
Getting someone photo shoot ready or like looking unreal on the beach, all of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Like that is a thing. People want that.
They're still the same thing, just the time frame's different and a little bit of decision making.
Yeah. And then powerlifting is obviously the next one that we talk about, but we don't specifically talk about because it's not squat, bench, and deadlift. It's powerlifting.
Yeah.
There's a difference. You're entering in a realm of sport now.
Yeah.
Where things are a little bit different. And then athletic development.
Yeah.
So something that we only last week we actually had a new client come on board who's a pretty high level surfer. Was like, I want to look good naked, but I need to be good at this thing.
Yeah.
So you can't follow just like train dysfunctionally and look the
drop
best.
Set everything.
Look the best that you could. It's like you actually have to consider what stuff does this person actually need when they hit the water, when they're training, when they're actually on the board. Like what things matter to program for this person.
What's the crossover point too? It's like of too much muscle to hinder performance.
Yeah.
You just need to know the boundaries.
Exactly.
As well.
Yeah. Again, and it's like, again, for most people, just getting stronger will probably make them a better athlete. Almost all the time. Yeah. Adding a little bit more muscle probably make you a better athlete. Almost all the time.
Yeah.
But what happens when you have the minimum effective dose?
Yeah.
You can already squat for a female 1.5 times body weight and deadlift 1.5 times body weight. Should you go and do 2?
Yeah.
Should you go and do 3?
Yeah.
Like, there's a point of diminishing returns with that. So understanding it. And then like we were actually talking about like strategies that your body put in place to deal with that shit. If anyone follows my social media and has been fucking laughing at me trying to run for the last, 4 or 5 weeks in, it's because I taught my body to not do that.
Yeah.
It's like, do everything except that, because that is loose and fast and everything talks to each other in a very different way. Compared to like putting a really heavy barbell on your back or in your hands.
Yeah.
So I think, it's really cool. So, having all those 3 as options, I don't think you need to be awesome at all of them. And if you want to be a specialist, truly you want to be great at one.
Yeah.
But I think the overlap between all 3 is actually really valuable to know.
I was going to mention that. It's a tremendous amount of overlap for that. You know, like everyone's going to have that one client that just like, hops from goal to goal, just always wants for more.
Yeah.
So it's like, they want to be strong. They want to be probably, big and to a degree. And then they want to have this like ability to have some athletic prowess to them as well. It's like, with these 3 pillars these 3 modules, you're going to have the a great ability to kind of cross over through all of those.
Yeah.
Who's that? I always reference, do you know who Ross Edgley is?
I don't.
You should look him up because he's an animal. He's massive. He can swim the English Channel. Like, yeah. So you can basically like after this be able to like make your own Ross Edgleys or even be one yourself.
Yeah, if you have the right makeup to start with, the right clay.
It's got a pretty good platform to launch off genetically.
We need the right clay. And that's like. Fuck, that's what I'm trying to do right now. It's like I want to be Steve Rogers after the transformation, not before the transformation. Run, jump, lift, whatever needs to happen. Like, and I don't want to say it's CrossFit because it's not that. But
you wouldn't dare say that word.
No. But just having an understanding, and even like if you think of it from like your point of view, right? Like you've been training for physique now since you were 16, like
forever.
I'm not going to date you, but for a long time, understanding like, well, what would happen from an athletic development standpoint? Like we did a year of boxing.
Yeah.
You're playing around with MMA. It's like, okay, when you want to go do that as well, and someone comes to you and they're like, hey, I still want to look mad at the beach, but I'm also going to go to MMA class.
Yeah.
You have to process like, okay, what the fuck does that mean for this person? He needs to be able to, when he closes his eyes and walks, not use the same arm and same hand.
Yeah.
Like that's a real problem when you walk like a robot.
I fixed that problem.
So I think like, okay, so what do we do? Do they have to go run? Or can I do something in the gym setting that's going to help with that?
Yeah. How do you keep them off the treatment table too?
Exactly. Yeah. You get to a point where we talked about it before, like the shoulder press thing. It's like, okay, we get into a point now where you can just only flat press because you're so fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's start thinking about what actually goes into athletic ability and create a physique that you can still put your fucking shoes on.
Yeah.
which we've both been in positions where we cannot do that.
Not a good idea. It's not a good place to be.
I was really strong though.
I don't know what I was.
Just big.
Just dysfunctional.
It's very big. So yeah, that's, I guess, the course in a nutshell. And what we can announce, because we have got a few guys that are already locked in, and it's absolutely
signed, sealed, and delivered.
Actually, no surprise, because Jason and I are very fussy about who we work with in the fitness industry and who we like and who we align with. And I think the biggest thing for us was like, we wanted people that would come in and not only educate, but give the tools to practically apply. And there's only a certain group of people that do that, and a certain group of people that are really passionate actually about making the industry better. And we were laughing though when we're having the discussions. Like, we hung up, we're like, I feel like these guys would have done this for free.
Yeah, well, that was the biggest thing. Every single person we've spoken to so far is that passionate that it feels like that's the energy that they're giving off.
Yeah,
it's like that's what we want.
Yeah, which is really cool, because it's like this matters to you. Making personal trainers better and making the industry better matters to you.
Yeah, agreed.
Which, when we know that they're walking in like that, then that's like, okay, these are our people.
Yeah,
and again, focused on that practical outcome. So we've got Max and Carl from the Performance Hub, who we've had Max on the podcast before. We haven't had, I think we've had him on twice. Yeah. We did a roundtable and him by himself. We haven't had Carl on, so we'll definitely, the coming episodes.
Boys are coming on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how, so Max is an exercise physiologist. Carl works in strength and conditioning. We're going to talk about assessing clients effectively, not in a treatment room type way, lay on the ground and let me check your internal rotation, external rotation, and you leave because you just wanted to lose some body fat. Actually assessing people effectively and efficiently that works for the client, gets buy-in, and then solves a lot of these issues that we see pop up with clients all the time. So that's going to be really cool. They are also going to take care of the athletic development section as well. So we'll go more into detail when they do their episode, but the boys have been running S&C programs for a really long time. They've both been in the game, I think, as long as us.
I'd say so.
Yeah, and they're working with young athletes in particular to develop them into their careers, essentially, like their sporting careers. They both played pretty high level sport themselves, both from played TAC Cup and all that kind of stuff, so they know how the game works.
Footy.
Yeah, AFL for the
Aussie rules.
Interstate.
Aussie rules.
Interstate and international lifters. So yeah, that'll be cool to have the boys on. So we'll have them twice. We'll do a podcast on each of those. So whether you sign up to the course or not, pay attention for the next however many weeks that is, because we're going to throw as much value as we can out within those podcasts as well. Lizzie is going to come in and do our nutrition coaching from Flex Success.
So that if there's people that don't know her by first name,
I just assume we talk too much.
I was gonna say very comfortable to just announce her on first name.
So Lizzie Rorter from Flex Success. So they've actually moved into education themselves recently. So obviously, Flex in general is two people we've mentioned on the podcast heaps. We've had Dean on a couple of times. We've had Lizzie on before, who we really respect and are pushing the levels of coaching standards. I think is probably the best way to look at it.
Exceptional results as well.
And a brand that's built purely off the back of being really good at what they do. So really exciting. Like we said to Liz, like, what do you see personal trainers do that you wish they did?
What do you want to tell them?
And how do we teach them that?
How do you want to give them practical ways to stop it?
Exactly. So that's going to give you the insight that you need to actually get results with your clients, and inside the personal training scope as well. Information only stuff. If you don't have a qualification and you can go get it.
Information's important to obtain.
Yeah, exactly.
For information only purposes.
Who else have we got? So we got Dean McKillop,
of course.
From Flex Success as well. So he's been on a few times, again, roundtables and by himself, and one with Lizzie as well. He's fucking killing it, man.
He's the man. When it comes to physique prep, body transformations,
right now he's the name, isn't he?
So excited to have both him and Lizzie delivering these units. It's like they're going to be top notch.
And I've been to one of Dean's seminars in the past where he's kind of talked about I guess systemically how he goes through comp preps and stuff like that. And just the way that he delivers information is like very tangible, I could go and do that with my client. He doesn't hold back. There's no secrets. It's like, there's no fucking, I've got this other thing that I do with my clients, but I tell you I do this. It's not that. It's so transparent, which is really, really cool. I'm excited for that. Last one, signed, but definitely not least.
Certainly not.
And there's more to come is Will Crozier from Nexus Performance, which will be taking care of the powerlifting side of things. So what we're going to do with the powerlifting one is not necessarily just talk about competing. It's going to be about, I guess, periodization and interventions with the squat, bench, and deadlift.
Yeah.
So hopefully if you guys listen to us, we're kind of all on the same page that like low bar squatting, comp bench press, and deadlifting all year round. Again, when you're strong, you can do that with your beginners.
Yeah.
When you're fucking strong, it ain't going to work.
Yeah, it's not
going to end up, something's going to hurt. So how do we actually progress that? How do we look at, again, a little bit of exercise selection stuff of like, if this is going on, maybe we should do this.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool as well. And Will's the same. So like I obviously coached with Will for a really long time. And one of the reasons I did that was he was just like, let me help with this thing.
Yeah.
I think it was a shoulder injury at the time. It's like, let's get on a call. Like, let's just go through this and see what's going on. There was nothing in it for him. I had a coach at the time. It's like, I just want to help.
Yeah.
And I've seen him take so many other lifters under his wing and do that. So genuinely just wanting to help other people get better results.
Yeah.
And total transparency with what he's done in the past and what he's fucked up, what he used to think, what he thinks now. So I think really, really valuable again to have everyone in that list is like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I used to say take BCAs too. Like Dean worked at a supplement store.
Yeah.
So he's given people BCAAs before, but I guarantee you he will tell you he doesn't now.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really, really cool group.
Yeah, so much experience, so much knowledge, so much like passion and enthusiasm to deliver a high standard service, product, education, whatever you want to call it, and make a difference as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the coolest thing for me, and I don't want to like swing my dick around too much, but it's like, where else is there fundamentals, business, training, wealth, and specialists in one place?
Yeah, yeah.
So that leads itself into like, how the fuck do you deliver this thing?
Yeah.
So essentially what it's going to be, we're actually opening a new portal and we're really excited about moving in this direction.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is, because we've found like so many coaches and PTs are in different sort of areas in their business at different times. Like when I was pre-standout PT, I would have wanted to listen to Will talk about powerlifting.
Yeah.
And I should have been doing 1K PT, but what are you going to tell me I can't do 1% because I'm not good enough yet? Like, so what we've decided to do is basically create name to be determined. But what we're calling it behind the scenes right now is the STCfit Learning Portal. Yeah. Which is basically a subscription model where you get access to everything we've ever created. 1K PT, standout PT, 1%. We do have another program that's going to be built on top of that we're not going to talk about just yet, based again around the training side of things and getting results with people. Plus every seminar we've recorded, every webinar we've recorded, any other resources or anything that we can put in there, that's all coming in. So 1%, you will be able to buy it on its own, but the portal is going to be the way in.
Yeah, a one-stop shop to absorb everything from an educational, technical, business perspective, to create your own path as well, which I think is a really important thing. Like we've tried two different kind of methods with all of the people coming into our education courses, and then I guess like being reflective and always looking at like what's best practice for a lot of people. There were so many people where they needed to be guided on like what was next or what they should do for their business, but they just needed to have, obviously we're like big with like curriculum and course flow, but sometimes like people just needed to be over here for this and then move over here to that. So now we're going to have that ability to be able to make these personalized pathways, development pathways with some really fucking awesome people externally involved in that too.
Yeah, and you get access to all of them. Like 1K PT, it's pretty much a touch-free product because most people who are just starting out don't want to pay us because they're not making any money yet, which is fair. So here's everything you need. Go and get busy until you make enough money to come do standout PT.
Pretty much.
So but there's people that come in, and I know people that they know their niche, they know what they do, and they're actually very fucking good at their job, but they still take bank transfers.
Yeah.
And they still can't take a day off. And it's like, that's fundamental stuff that, like, you need to go do this. So the way we're going to handle that is basically you'll get assigned a coach and you'll get a pathway.
Yep.
So once your pathway is laid out, we'll use some quizzes and some questionnaires and all that kind of stuff that will design that for you. And it's like, this is every area in your business that you probably need to tick off in order. Whether you follow it in order, that's totally up to you. But it's going to lay out, if you do this over the next whatever period of time, you will have everything you want out of your business.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we want to create.
Yeah. Which there's nothing else out there like that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too, man. I'm so pumped. I'm pumped to deliver some of the stuff. I'm pumped to like connect with the network we have. I'm even just excited to like sit in on a couple of the the units and just eat up some content. Like I love learning about stuff and seeing other people's views from things too. So I know I'm going to be a better coach and educator just from like being part of the network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we've talked about today won't be the end either. Like the cool thing about going down the portal route is like we can just always add shit.
Yeah.
Because like something we haven't talked about today is like opening a facility. We're going to do that. And as with everything we do, we let everyone else in on what we did. Yeah. What mistakes we made and all of that kind of stuff. So that's going to come in there.
Yeah.
We talked about like bringing on coaches and stuff. That's going to be in there.
Yep.
There's so many other things that we can, like when they become important and we've got the right person for it, we can drop more stuff in there, which is going to be really exciting. So yeah, I guess like you said, presenting all the physique stuff that we could have talked about today, aside from the preparation side of it, that'll be Dean. Jason will be delivering that. I'll be taking care of all the strength stuff. So yeah, programming, exercise selection, and then what else was it? Oh, the fundamentals of strength.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really cool. So I guess because we're announcing now, and I'm just going to look at Tam because I don't know if we've actually got the webpage ready, but it'll be ready on Friday when it comes out, is an opt-in that if you guys want to pre-register this, so we're going to launch this on the 14th of February. Yep. It's still a while away. Most people are returning back to gyms in Victoria at least, and other people got Christmas and stuff coming up. We need to bring all these guys in and actually make the content. But we will launch on February the 14th. If you want to, you can secure right now a 30% discount off of the portal, which, yeah, we might be shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit after we've just talked about how good all these people are going to be. But if you pre-register your interest, you don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to do anything. Just put your name down and give us your email. So we can get in contact with you when things get closer. You'll secure a 30% discount.
You'd be mad not to.
Yeah. Even if it turns out shit and you don't sign up, at least you have the opportunity.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't think there's too much else to say.
Now it's just keep your eyes and ears out for the guests.
Yeah.
So that we can go into the weeds on the specialties of the content that they're going to be delivering. You guys get a really good idea about what the course is about.
Yeah. Yeah. So next up is November 10th. Jason will have ice cream cake ready for me on the day because you know that's my birthday, don't you?
Of course I do.
We'll be presenting with Will, so we'll talk about advanced strength and comp peaking. 24th, we'll have the Performance Hub guys in for prehab and post-rehab. Lizzie Rorter from Flex, December 8th, followed by the Performance Hub again, then Dean, then our finance unit yet to be named, 100% confirmed.
Very, very close, though.
When we get a signature.
Very, very close.
So that's going to be the schedule coming up for each fortnight podcast. So make sure if you haven't already subscribe, be ready, screenshots, shares, tags, do all the stuff. We really think this is going to be a disruptive
Get your 30% discount. Pre-register. Don't miss out.
All right. At STCfit_learning on the IG, at Jason Galea _STC, and at Ben Scott STC as well. Cool.
All right. See you next time, guys.
Bye.